Like all gardens, this one has seen a few changes since its conception in 1984. Through its evolution, owner Sherry Smith and designer Susan Lane found a kinship to share their families, life's evolutions, and their dreams for the garden.
I was very blessed to meet Susan Lane 25 years ago, and she installed this garden, and Susan is quite an artist.
Susan is also far-sighted, so her first move was to define long-term structure.
We planted trees it's a two-story house, and so we needed some height there in the front. And we planted native trees, mountain laurel, yaupon, crepe myrtles, not native but very good and regionally for this area. And set them in such a way to frame up but not hide the house.
Next, with the English Tudor house in mind, Susan threaded dimension and discovery through architect Tom Scheffelman's design for the front walkways and porch. Perspectives and color influenced the garden and the friendship between Sherry, a teacher of art history, and Susan, garden designer.
I personally love jewel tones. I love medieval art and illuminated manuscripts and stained glass windows. And so I wanted as many of those colors in the garden as I could get. I told Susan in the beginning that I did not like yellow. And Susan gently nudged me in the direction of yellow because she said, that's a contrast to all the rich, deep colors you like. And of course, I've learned that she's exactly right, and you'll see yellow all the time in my garden. And in stained glass, you see the yellows next to the blues, and they enrich each other. They magnify each other. And I think that's what Susan accomplishes in the garden. And yet, in the summer, there's a light touch with whites and baby blues, and so the garden changes throughout the year.
Over the years, Susan moved to perennials for progressive but easy care interest instead of the annuals that populated the garden in the beginning. She still peppers in a few for seasonal emphasis and to fill spaces when perennials go dormant in winter.
Gradually it got just like any gardener wants to have something that works for their area and that they don't have to keep replacing. So we got into a great palette of plants that were able to stay there and come back year after year. Like in the backyard here, it's green, there's textures, we have some color, but we don't bring in color that's not going to work just for the season.
Instead, in the shady backyard, Susan goes for low-maintenance dramatic form and mostly evergreen diversity in texture. For accent color on the patio, she fills Sherry's collection of containers that depict her love of 12th century Romanesque sculpture.
One of my interests that influenced me in the garden is my love for medieval art. What I love about medieval art is iconography and all the details that you find in the art. I found a pot from Portugal that is carved with a wonderful medieval hunt scene that you see in a lot of illuminated manuscripts and especially on medieval tapestries. I love to study each detail, and I feel the same way when I go into my garden and I look at each plant and appreciate each little detail of that plant.
Another symbol of Sherry's journey into the art world, begun with her parents, is an Eiffel Tower, a gift from a friend.
I think of it as a tower of strength.
Like life itself, the garden's strength comes from essential roots that support growth and change.
Over this 25-year period, the garden has become much richer and more varied.
The experience of taking care of this garden for 25 years, creating it and then taking care of it for 25 years has been incredible. In fact, I don't have to take care of my yard. My yard, it doesn't matter what it looks like because I have this one to be creative in. And to have someone like Sherry, a client who allows you to do this in their yard and is so supportive of you and lets you, just anything you can bring to it is gung-ho about it and very happy to have it happen. It's been quite a treat.
Every time I drive in the driveway, I stop and look at the garden and feel so blessed that I have it. I think of my garden as a gift to the neighborhood. I'm so happy when I see them stop at my garden. And I encourage them to walk up to the front porch and walk around the sidewalk and really look at the plants, because I do it for the Austin community as much as myself. And Susan will tell you I rarely pick flowers because I want them to be out there in all their glory.